getting ready to bottle your kombucha, you'll need clean bottles first off that have been cleansed either in a dishwasher to get any bacteria out with the hot water, or you'll have to do other ways such as using white vinegar, maybe a little rice in there so you can really cleanse and shake up what's inside the bottle or left over from an earlier batch. Okay, so I have my clean bottles, and you'll also want to take the rubber stopper off. They just pull off pretty easy, and just make sure it's nice and clean. Even in the wire area where you snap down the bottle, that can come off too. Cooper. Okay, so now before I place my kombucha in my bottles, I will be flavoring them. I will be using fresh ginger, and what I have done is I have peeled the ginger and chopped it up a little bit, and that will be going in the NutriBullet with raspberry and blueberry. So I really like this combination. And yeah, you'll need some type of mixer to kind of get a juice going from the fruit, and you'll be putting a little bit of water in there as well, so I can show you that too. Also, a strainer and a funnel will be necessary to bottle and place in the fruit, so you're not getting too messy. Alright, now that you have your fruit mixed in here, or I added the ginger, the raspberry, and blueberry, and now I will be putting the fruit plus a little bit of water so it's a liquid form. I will be placing that in the bottles. As you can see, I have a funnel and also a strainer because of the seeds can be a little much to digest depending on how sensitive you are. So I am going to strain as much as I can out, and I will be pouring this in the first bottle. You want about 20% in the bottle. And also, depending on how much fruit you bought, you might want to go less and fill up most of your bottles, unless you don't mind having a plain bottle of kombucha. Alright, so once your bottles are filled with the flavoring you like or prefer, there should be 20% filled. And this is again raspberry, blueberry, ginger. And I did save a little bit left over because I might have more kombucha in this jar than bottles here. So I have a few more bottles that I can use, and so I don't want to waste this. So possibly I'll be able to use it, or I'll just fill a little bit more in the bottles. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is, remember in the earlier video, I showed you the SCOBY that I had taken out with 1 cup starter kombucha from this previous batch, and now I'm getting ready to bottle this batch of kombucha. What you may want to do is grab a wooden spoon, something clean, not metal, and give your kombucha a little stir. And with this, you'll see there's carbonation already in this jar, which is awesome. I did a little taste test, and I really like what's going on here with the flavor. The longer you leave it, the more vinegar-like tasting it gets. The less time, the more sugar-like, because the culture has not yet ate the sugar that you made with the sweet tea to produce the culture and grow another baby SCOBY on top. So what I'll do is I'm going to strain this because of the living culture that is in there. I don't necessarily want to drink that. So I'll be taking this cute little strainer here and placing it in my funnel. And it just kind of snaps in there, maybe. Or maybe it just sits on there. Okay, now what I can do is just pour directly in my bottles. Or you can get like a small measuring cup or something, so you don't have to worry about dumping this jar on the floor. Now, what just splashed out was a ton of culture, and I'm glad because I did not want to drink that. That's on top here, and it's very slimy and gooey, so yeah, it's just not very pleasant to kind of suck one of those down. So I'm going to move on to the next bottle because I don't want it to overflow, but you want to leave maybe the neck of the bottle open without any kombucha in there. So I'll go ahead and fill all the bottles up. So actually I will need to tap into my 2nd gallon of kombucha to fill these last 2 bottles, but also I'll be filling probably, well, this was 1 gallon, there's 5, 6, 7, so I might need to fill up a larger bottle too, and that consists of maybe 2 bottles or 3 servings, so I might just bring that over and then fill the rest of my fruit that I had left over, because I always do this, I always have leftover. Or I could fill a few smaller bottles if I wanted, but sometimes it's nice if you're going somewhere and you wanted to share some kombucha to bring a big bottle because it goes quick. This is only like 3 servings, so. Okay, so I'll show you how to take the SCOBY out here. So remove your rubber band and the cheesecloth. And here is a kombucha. Make sure you have clean hands and just go in for the kill there. And you'll see that there are many layers here, well, just a couple of SCOBYs. Each time you create a new batch, it creates a new SCOBY. And I will need to measure out 1 cup of starter kombucha. And before I do that, I'm just going to give this a little stir. And you'll notice there's carbonation in this jar as well as the. So I'm measuring out 1 cup, and that's almost 1 cup here. Okay, and then I want to submerge my kombucha mother in my 1 cup starter, and since I'll be using this jar right away to fill my bottles, I'll just go ahead and lay this cheesecloth over top and move it aside till I'm ready to use it. Okay, now I'll be pouring my 2nd jar into my bottles. Be careful because you can overflow this pretty quickly if you're not paying attention. All right, now I have completed filling the bottles, and I actually had the perfect amount to use all my bottles other than 1 extra large bottle here. But one of these bottles, they're from World Market, you can get about 2 cups of kombucha in this bottle if you fill it to the appropriate level here. Some bottles I ended up filling a little bit higher than I would, but I didn't want to waste any kombucha. If you ever have any kombucha left over in your jars and you don't have enough bottles, if it's not a lot, you can add it a little bit more to your starter kombucha just to kind of give it a little bit more of a jump start. Now with this one, this is just plain kombucha poured in without the raspberry, blueberry, ginger flavor, but I am experimenting with cut up ginger that I did not grind up. I've done this in the past and it works a little bit. I may add a little bit of sugar to this so that it kind of jump starts the process of fermentation. But usually it'll feed off the sugar, and that's what creates the carbonation and the yummy kombucha brew. So there you have it. There's the bottling, and now I am going to go ahead and secure the bottles by placing the rubber stopper nicely and secure on the top and just snapping down the bottle. And I'll be doing this to all of the bottles, and I'll be setting them aside in a dark corner. I possibly might wrap towels around it just to keep it a little bit warmer. And there you have it. So brewing 2 gallons of kombucha, which you might want to think about if you want to continuously drink kombucha, will brew about 13 or 14 servings, 11 smaller bottles, and 2 to 3 servings in one larger bottle. So something to think about if you want to continuously drink kombucha. This lasts about maybe 15 days or so, and my brewing process for the first fermentation in the jars here, this last batch I brewed for about 15 days, and that is what is now in the bottle. So depending on how you like the flavoring, whether it be more vinegar tasting, that's going to be a little bit longer than 10 days possibly, depending on what the temperature is in your house. So maybe check it between 7 and 10 days and see what it's tasting like. If it's more sugar-like, let it go a little bit longer and continuously taste it. But do not touch your mother to a metal spoon.